and welcome back to The Real Talk with Cass
and Kai.
It is still TruthVember 2023, Day 5, Episode 5. Today, we are really going to talk about some realness, y'all. We asked what you guys wanted to hear from us and what you guys want to talk about, and you said you wanted to hear more about us, our story. And so the title of today's episode is POV, from a parent and kid point of view, or the relationship, things that we go through, being a single mom in the past, where we are today, now that he's grown, so on and so forth. So let's get into it. First question, how do you navigate cultural differences between generations in your family? Ooh, that's deep. Well, first off, we are definitely multicultural. It says that in like all of our handles that we're a multicultural, multi-generational mom-son duo. We are, to sum it up, mixed with a lot of things, but Blasian and Hapa, African, Afro-Caribbean, Eurasian, Chinese, Dutch, Indonesian, some Italian sprinkled in there, right? So definitely multicultural. Coming up, for me, I'm just going to speak for myself. I definitely was raised by a single mom. My mom is the Asian one. She is Chinese, Dutch, Indo. So I definitely always felt like the darkest I felt and I was the darkest person in our family. So coming up, it was a little traumatic because it's like,
okay, I don't think traumatic is a good word. Just say like it was difficult.
Hey, this is my story,
I would say
right?
Difficult.
That's why
I'm not gonna say traumatic.
I would say
it seems extreme, mom.
Damn. Okay,
but
well,
it's the real talk.
Look,
so I mean,
honestly, today, right? In today's culture, we talk a lot about mental health, about healing our younger child, things like that. That's why I said traumatic, because I'm not traumatized at this point in my life. I am very proud to be Blasian and Hapa. Today, I have found that I don't feel one culture more than other. It is, I guess you would call, it's equally the same. And I read something the other day about it's actually a Hapa page that I follow, which Hapa, if you don't know, is basically, it can be any mix of white or European and Asian. Okay, so I read on this page and it said, people usually just assume what culture we are. I get Filipino, Samoan, Hawaiian, everything than what I am, instead of people just asking. So when they do,
Same.
I super appreciate it. I've always been very into cultures, linguistics, right? Things like that. Maybe it's because I am Blasian Hapa. Maybe it's because I am from San Francisco, so I grew up having friends from all over the world, right? But yeah, they said that being Hapa, being anything multicultural is not even that I'm one of those things more than any other. It's like a third culture. It's like a subculture to be mixed with all of these things, or to be multicultural. And I thought that was a really good way of explaining it from the point of view of a person who is multicultural. So to wrap that all back around, excuse me, I said it was traumatic because then in that space, just trying to find out who I was, be comfortable with who I am, right? And being the darkest person, not just in my family, because to be honest, excuse me, being raised by my mom, it was just us in San Francisco. Most of her family is all over the world. We're kind of spread out in different countries. So we really didn't have a lot of family gatherings. I just remember that when we did, traumatic, I guess, is not the best word.
That's why I was saying, I think difficult, or like,
it was difficult. And it was traumatic. I said that in the sense that it really threw me. Like, I had a lot of thoughts and conversations with myself about like why I felt so different. Yes, why I felt like I stuck out so much with them. And it wasn't just with my family, because we didn't have a lot of times together as a family, unfortunately, to see, you know, the Asian side. My mom, if y'all know her, she's been called like the blackest Asian or Chinese lady. She's not only Chinese, she's Dutch Indo as well, but actually born in Holland. But she was very down, I guess you would say. And growing up in San Francisco, she had friends also of different cultures. I grew up going to African dance classes. I did the Mexican dance with the big dress. I did jazz, ballet, very, very diverse, right? So I would say that navigating through that, it really helps to be a parent, or to be a parent. I feel like she created an environment where we celebrated our diversity. Mm-hmm. And so that's huge. And I think even being Blasian, and you guys, you know, if you're Blasian, or you don't even have to be Blasian, multicultural, or not even, or even just one, right? Share, you know, your experience, because I have Blasian friends who, like, unlike us, you know, well, he has a Blasian mom, but I have an Asian mom, right? And a Black or African American father, right? And I actually have a Blasian friend who is the other way around. Their mom is Black and dad is Asian. So I think that's a totally different Blasian experience, right? And their Asian side is like first gen, like they still go back home to the Philippines and things like that. So it's very much about the environment that you cultivate. For whatever, and you're right, traumatic that was a lot on it. I would say, I guess I said that because of today's culture. We talk a lot about mental health and just healing the younger child. And now I think that when I reflect on how I felt when I was younger and growing up, being Blasian Hapa within my own family, and just in the culture, growing up in San Francisco, seeing other cultures and things like that, it was something that I had to work through. And that's why today I am super proud. You know, if I'm asked, I definitely would love to clarify and talk about it. And I'd love to hear, I love to hear about other people's cultures too. So that's my side. What about, how was it for you? I mean, you're not a parent. It was more so for a parent. How do you navigate parenting in like multicultural space? So do you have any thoughts about just being Blasian Hapa? And he has more Black, of course. If you want to get technical, I mean, I don't look at it like that. I am just as much Black as I am Asian, and it's just Blasian. Like, it's like a whole...
I just say half and half, so...
Yeah.
For me...
I mean, let's talk about it, though. Okay, question. So we could get him talking about it, too, right? How do you feel it differs between our side of the family, mom's influence, and when you're around your dad's side?
So with that, it's like, I don't know. It's more so, it's like a good and sometimes bad thing, like as me being the kid, I guess. Because with my mom's side, like how she said she felt like she was the darkest one, I feel like that's me and my brother in a sense. Yeah. But I don't look at it like that necessarily, only because like they're my family, so I'm not gonna I'm not thinking of them as judging me. Like, we're all family.
Yeah,
like,
we don't get together that much, and they don't make us feel.
Yeah, we're all the same. To me, we all feel the same. So with my mom's side, it's very much like, okay, we're one and the same. Like, sometimes I would think, on my Asian side, I look like you really can't tell that I'm half Asian, but then you can at the same time, because like I either get like, oh, are you Samoan? Are you, Korean or something like that? So with that, it's more so just like, on my Asian side, I looked more black to them, and on my black side, I looked more Asian to them. So that's that whole aspect with like the multi-generational cultural differences between my black and Asian side.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there is like the bad things where I'm called like too bougie or just.
Let's talk about it, because I think that's really real. Talking about our black community, that's a problem. Like colorism in general. So
yeah, just in general.
And I asked you that because I wanted you to talk about that, honestly, because he's come back from his dad's side visiting, and you know it's come up that, you know, they make little comments, especially post pandemic. You know, our previous president's opinions about Chinese people, it's tough. And we're definitely Chinese, right? So I asked him about that, how that makes him feel. And I honestly, I think that...
It's just hard because I don't want to make it seem like I'm playing sides, because like it's family at the end of the day. So it just feel it's just more so difficult for me. It's more so just difficult for me because I feel like I'm stuck in the middle. So that's like the only thing about it.
And that makes me upset that people, in general, the culture poses their opinion, their own ignorance, because I think that's really what it is. Even when people come up to us and assume that we are Filipino, Hawaiian, Samoan, I think that just exposes how small people's thinking is. Like, you've not seen outside of Southern California, you know what I'm saying? That's why I think just ask. It's like...
Yeah, that's a good observation. But then at the same time, it's like it's more so we don't know if the person was exposed to them like at all, like, so they don't know. Then that's
obviously if they say, that's what I'm saying. When they say things like that, it's exposing that you don't.
Yeah.
And luckily, I have a good understanding of who I am. I've been exposed to other cultures from very young, being from San Francisco, California, like super melting pot, right? Having an Asian mom who, to the world, they're like, she's not Asian, she's black, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's the most like downest Chinese lady I've ever met, right? And even like, it's funny, but like even those things are really like very ignorant to say, right? And luckily we have a good position, and I've always tried to impress this upon my children, and Kai specifically, because he's the oldest. He's been with me since day one. Essentially, we kind of grew up together. I had him when I was 17, right? But it just makes me sad when he comes back. You know, I expect for the world and for the culture to kind of like say things like that and expose their ignorance, right? But when it comes from your family, it's sad. Different. It's sad and it's hurtful. It hurts my heart for him and it hurts my heart too as a black woman, right? Because that's a problem in the black culture. And, you know, I see it in other cultures as well. I'm just speaking for my own, right? It's definitely a problem in the black community that there's colorism. You know, people are treated differently if you have light skin, if you have pretty hair, you know what I'm saying? And so to say things like, oh, you're bougie, like, it's like, I just walked in the room, you know, I didn't say anything. But ultimately, and that's something that Kai and I have been talking about a lot recently, and especially now starting this platform, we see the ignorance even on a higher level, right? So it basically boils down to, as much as I hate to say it, but hopefully part of us having this platform is going to start to influence change in that, right? But I was going to say that it's just sad. It just exposes people's ignorance. And ultimately, I think that a lot of times people hate what they don't understand, and even bringing it more personal, people don't like when you are completely 100% happy with who you are, and it just exudes. It's just a vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so yeah. Next question, right? We can't go back on that, but What do you think is the main challenge facing single parent households today? That's good. That's really good. Well, if I reflect back to being a single parent, because I'm not a single parent anymore, I would say...
So, like, wait, is it saying, like, so since you're not a single parent anymore, like, are they asking, like, what examples of household things you do today?
No, it just says, what are the challenges? What do you think the biggest challenge is?
The biggest challenge facing single parent households today?
And so I would say, so obviously I have to reflect back to being a single parent, which honestly wasn't that long ago, and that will always stay with me, right? That will always stay with me. It doesn't matter. I'm married today, and I have, his little bro that kind of have a second chance to not be a single parent, which ultimately is was my goal, because I wanted to break that generational curse, right? But I think a big challenge for today that I still face as a parent, even though I'm not a single parent, is that just trying to instill really solid principles and also be mindful of like the current culture, right? Because you want your kids to talk to you. Now that he's grown, it's like we have a really good relationship, and I honor that. I'm so happy that he can be himself, and we can have conversations. We've had uncomfortable conversations too, and like I said in a few episodes ago about how I've seen, being a millennial, I've seen the progression of the generations and his generation, right, and technology and things like that. So I think the hardest thing about being a single parent today would be navigating that, how to set a firm foundation and still move with the culture. Still create an environment with your children where they feel comfortable and safe to come to you first and foremost, in all honesty, with things that they're going to be faced with in today's world, right? But still have that kind of old school vibe about you that, certain things just is not going to fly. You know what I mean? Like, we're just not going to do that. So like that. And I was going to say also, something that I faced when I was a single parent, we lived in Long Beach, so it's...
I think it was time.
Yeah,
time spending.
Right, time spent, lack of time, right?
Yeah,
because I was the sole provider, right? So I did not have time. Like, things that I wanted to do that would ultimately progress us, like go back to school, get my degree, and things like that, had to take a back seat because I needed to provide now, right? So that's where it's like, it was just really tough trying to balance cultivating a good relationship with him when it's like we literally wake up at the crack of dawn, drop him off. I mean, I was dropping him off 5-6 a.m. in the morning in Long Beach, hopping into traffic 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours on the way to work into West LA, and working salary, so just like busting my ass to try and get out of there at a reasonable time, which was 5, which was actually the worst time to be getting off from LA trying to go back to Long Beach, if you guys know anything about Southern California, and then spend another 2 hours in traffic to go and get him. So a lot of mom guilt. I felt bad a lot because I never saw him. And then I had his younger brother right before I met my wife now. And I just was like, man, this can't be life, because I found myself repeating it. Now it was me dropping the both of them off, right? At 5-6 a.m. in the morning with the stroller and the car seat and all these things. And it's just tough. I would also say to navigate, even if you're not a single parent, right? Just being a mom, 'cause that's all I can speak for, right? Oh gosh, I don't know why that makes me so emotional.
No, I can take a little leeway off of her, like, just being the kid and seeing your mom, like, having to wake up every day and, like, get you ready, and then, I don't know, it's more so just, like, your parent can do the best that they can. There's no handbook. I just think, now being my age and a little bit grown, there used to just be like a lot of like, I don't know, not like pain, but like just hurt in a way, just because like, I don't know how to explain it. It's more so just like, it was just a very different time back then for her herself, and then for me. So
well, I think because we didn't want to talk about it, but it was just such a ever present part of our life that it was just us, and that he saw me trying to do it all. So I was going to say that the biggest challenge I think I faced as a single mom, being multicultural, feeling like I wasn't breaking the cycle, feeling like I was repeating it, being multicultural, being a single mom, having children out of wedlock with 2 men. And I felt like people either would meet me with judgment or like try and overcompensate, like, man, I feel bad for her, because they see it, right? They see me hustling and bustling and just trying to do the best that I could, and I'm raising sons, and I'm not a man, right? So that's very honest. That's been something that people have asked me, like, how do you do that, you know? And now today that I am married to a woman, and my eldest is gay as well, you know, people like, oh, well, no wonder, things like that. And just not letting those things affect you. Girl, keep doing you. Now, at this point, I can just say it was so worth it. When I hear him talk about those times in his feedback, that's it for me. That's really all that matters. You know, because he essentially is the only one that was there with me, and we kind of, excuse me. I didn't want to get emotional, but I'm like, you guys wanted raw and real, and
I mean, this is the real talk with Kaz and Kai.
This takes me there, because, like I said, it wasn't
too long ago.
It was 10 years ago.
Like 10 years ago. I was only, I'm 20.
10.
I was 10. So, I mean, now, like, I had my time where I've cried about it, and yeah, just being from the kid aspect, like, it was hard at times, but, like, you get to where you are now, so I mean, it's not. Yeah,
it's like I said, hearing his feedback today makes it really worth it, because, you know, of course, I didn't have time. I never had time to really even stop and be like, wow, this is my life, and like, how do I change this? How do I break those generational curses? How do I still? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You know, moms, definitely, I posted something on our page the other day, and I really, really mean that. I was really blessed as a single parent to have a lot of support from his side of the family and mine. So my weekends were completely free. I pretty much would drive from Long Beach to the Inland Empire, where his dad's family lived, and I would bring him every weekend. So I had my weekends. I had that balance. I had that kind of reset to go into another week my best. And that was really helpful. And I know that everybody doesn't have that. It's a very special thing. I definitely honored that, and I'm very thankful that I had that. It definitely helped. It decreased the challenges a lot.
Even sometimes till this day. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, I'm going to go over to my grandma's house and hang out with my mom. She's like, okay, go.
Yeah.
She's like, chill time for me. So, I mean, it's honestly, it's not always a bad thing. Like
I mean, it is what it is, you know?
Having a kid, there's no manual to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she did the best she can, and I know that at the end of the day, that's thank you. That's why I'm here today. So, it's not, like, I don't ever take away anything that she's done for me. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be who I am without her.
It is what it is, and I was going to say, it literally, being a single parent is what it is. For me, I didn't have a choice in it, and I think because that's a real thing too, that I know, I can only speak for women, I can only speak for mothers, but I'm sure that men and their single dads out there who've obviously been faced with the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's better it's a better option for yourself and for your children to choose you, right? Opposed to staying in a relationship that's not fruitful. You know, I think in today's culture, that's a lot less, but I know people still do it. I know people who've been married for 30 years who have 3-4 kids with that person, and then as soon as the kids are grown, they divorce. And it's devastating more so to the people around them, to the children, right? Because it seems like these people have already processed that, and now everyone else has to process it, right? So it's kind of not fair. So I always try to just, on my lowest days as a single parent, I just try to keep that in mind, that it wouldn't always be like that, and that ultimately me even just making the decision to be a single parent and taking that on, to play both roles as a father to children, to multi-generational kids, to black sons, and not be a man myself. I took that on, you know, with the end game in mind, that like today, you know, that we would be able to sit there and have these conversations. And ultimately, I didn't really have like a clear idea of what breaking that generational curse would look like, because I said I am a product of a single mother as well, who did the best she could, who that's just the hand that she was dealt, because it was that, or stay in an unhealthy relationship that ultimately wouldn't have been fruitful, you know, for me as well. So, and ultimately now today I can say that we have, because we have recreated the story. So there's hope. Definitely, if you don't have a support system that allows you to have those free weekends, or a few days, or a day, or a date night for yourself and maybe your current partner now, it's really important, you know, to maximize wherever you can, because mental health is real. You know, and I couldn't bring it to my kids. I know that being a single parent, because he was my only for 8-9 years. It was just us, right? And like I said, I was 17 when I had him, and we grew up together, and there was a lot of times where it's like I didn't have a large friend group necessarily, and even the friends that I did have, their life experience wasn't like mine as a young single mother. So I really didn't have a lot of people that I could even just express or have an outlet on those days that were extra tough as a single parent, right? And it's like, you don't want to go home and talk to your kids, right? And so I really tried not to do that. I think, unfortunately, sometimes it just happened like that because it was just us. And in those times, I just try to just do the best I can and use that always as a learning experience, to where it's like, if he did know, then we really talked about it, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at.
Look at us now.
So, woo, y'all. Okay, next question.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, there was a really juicy one that I was like, I don't know about that one. About, someone asked if obviously they're the mom, right? And said, like, should the baby daddy pay if obviously they're not together anymore and the mom is either remarried or in a new relationship? Should the baby daddy pay child support?
Yes.
Girl.
Yes. Automatic yes. Just yes.
Girl.
If and or
Boy. Okay, first off, come on. I think that is another thing about this culture, this current generation, just where we are in today's world. Broken households in that respect of baby mom and baby dad not being together is a lot more common today than it was when I was younger, and my parents and grandparents and things like that, obviously. So it's like, we're already not going to be together. That's fine. But there's this child involved, right?
There just has to be an understanding. And I was going to say, there could be two sides to it. There could be the good side, which is the mom and the dad know that they're not gonna like be together, and like it can be all good between them two. Like, okay, like we have this set days, you do this, but like
I mean, I think I'm sorry to cut you off. And it's like, let's be honest, okay? I didn't receive child support with him, okay? And he knows that. There's no secret about that, okay? And I think that is wrong. I think that it does not matter who you're with. I think, and I've went on to have another child, and he's had several. It doesn't matter. This one here, okay, that's your responsibility. When you have a child with someone, that is your responsibility, whether or not you are going to stay committed to the person that you had the child with.
Or not.
Okay? And even like he said, not to downplay all those things, yes, you should have an understanding. But let's be honest. Most times, that's why they say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Because he can go. And that was my story. He went. It was like, as soon as we identified that we were not going to be together, it was like, okay, well, here you go. Here, you can have the baby. And all the things that come with it. Not just my responsibility as a mother, but also his shortcomings, right? Their shortcomings. So no, I don't think it's right that they should not have to pay. Whether or not she goes on to be with somebody else, or if it's a single dad and he goes on to be with somebody else, that has absolutely nothing to do with you taking care of your responsibilities, right? And I think even more so, if you're not there presently to give the time to build that relationship and bond between a father and a son, or vice versa, if you're a single dad, a mom and the child, you definitely should pay monetarily. I wouldn't want to have a child today, okay? I was thinking 20 years ago, 10 years ago, okay? So, no. And we need to talk honestly about that. And honestly, you might want to, girl, if you can, before you have the child, pose these type of questions to that man. Pose these type of questions to that woman. Okay? Because on this side of it, I'm so thankful that I don't look like what I've been through. Okay? And that God is good. Okay? He definitely has been my rock. Okay? But yeah, no. I don't think so. And I think we need to, in that respect, we need to cut the shit and we need to be real about it. No. And if you can't, then don't have children. Don't lay down with her or him. Don't do that, because it's not fair. It's not fair to the child. It's just sad. And ultimately, it does not break any generational curses. And again, our Black community, especially, we have to change that. It's not okay. No.
Yeah.
I said what I said. Is there another maybe lighter question we can end on? Or anything you want to say about it? I'm sorry.
I mean, not really. I mean, it's more so, I kind of said my little piece. It's like,
yeah, we should have an understanding. Till this day, we don't have an understanding. And, of course, I would hope that, and I've always prayed for that at one day we would, but to be honest, 20 years later,
you never know.
20 years later, I don't, there's no understanding. I don't understand, and I don't want to understand. I could never understand. Because even on our darkest, most brokest days as a single parent, I would never not want to have my baby, and not take care of them. So, do with that what you may. Let's do one more question. I mean, honestly, how do you feel about that? Because you do have other siblings that have come after you, and their situation is a lot different than yours. So, like, honestly, how does that make you feel?
I mean, I look at it as a afterthought, I guess. Only because I just think the first kid should always be like the first thought of, in a sense, when it comes to the parents.
Man, and the son?
So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Sad. That's how it,
and it's just different. It's just different because I really, like, I mean, I do have a hearsay, but then at the same time, I don't because I'm the kid. So the parents are going to do what they're going to do. The mom's going to do what she has to do. The dad's going to do what he wants. At the end of the day, there's no...
And dads, I hope that you take pride in changing that narrative, because for me as a woman, as a mom, that was always in the back of my head. Those were some of the generational curses that I talked about. Those are some of the things that I definitely wanted to be intentional about breaking. And all that I could do was me. And that's the crazy part about it. It's like, you do want that understanding, but all of that takes the other person acknowledging, identifying, stepping up to do the things. So when they just don't, that's where you have the single parent. Because you don't have a choice, and there's no time to sit and try and, mediate and counsel that. Either you have that or you don't. So yeah. Let's do one more question. A little lighter. Wait.
I just think that's a good way to, and I just think, like, I don't know, like, you have the point of view of a mom and a kid, single parent, now not. I think that's just, like, a good way to, like, we showed you guys the real us with you.
Something else, sorry, before that, because that brings me to something else that I've been asked, because like I said, I am married to my wife, to a woman, right? He is gay, and people that don't really understand have said things like, oh, well, maybe that's why he's gay, or maybe that's why she's gay, right? Because of these things that I've dealt with, not just with one, but I also had another son, right? With another man. So, people ask if that has anything to do with it. Is that why he's gay? Is that why she's gay? Because my dad wasn't there, right? When I was growing up. No. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. I for me, and that's another controversial topic that maybe we can talk about on another episode of, are you born gay or is it a choice? For me, I was not born gay. I also was born in a time where being gay was not glamorized and made to be cool like it is in today's culture. Because I talk to Kai about this all the time. It's not. That's why it's even more important as a gay person, as a multicultural gay person, mother, right? Woman, that does have sons, children, naturally with men, right? To let people know that no, it's not something that happened to me, like I was victimized or anything. It was a choice. It was a choice. And I think that's also a very low vibrational, toxic, and ignorant thing to even say and to propose, that that's why he's gay or that's why I'm gay. It's not. Do you think that the relationship with your dad or lack thereof affects it, though? Affects your choice in being gay?
No.
Okay,
no.
see?
Just because now I'm gonna do what I wanna do, I'm gonna feel how I wanna feel, I wanna date whoever I wanna date, like, you're gonna do you as the father, or whatever. Honestly, no.
Okay. Good.
No,
So that answers
that's
that,
it.
because that's something that people have asked me too. Just through my journey as being a single parent and transitioning to not being a single parent and being an openly gay or lesbian woman and a mother, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the beauty of life is that we can recreate or create your own narrative and really break generational curses in a way that you show people that their judgment and their thoughts and their small thinking is not right, and that there is a better way. Because more times I meet people and it never comes up that I'm gay, never comes up that I was a single parent. These things never come up, and they're like, wow, oh my gosh, I never would have thought that, because my thinking and the way that you are like, you've shown me a new way. So that's the goal. I really hope that this helped. I'm sorry if we triggered anybody with the emotions, but when we
It's
talk
true.
about my babies, when we talk about that, and when I go back to that and reflect on that, it takes me there. So sorry, not sorry. This is really for the people who asked for it. And I really hope that it blesses you, that it helps you in your journey.
It helps you guys just learn more about us.
Yeah,
On top
and
of that,
that is
hope
well.
you guys grow with us. So
Yes, 5 Tribe. So that concludes this episode number 5, TruthVember, POV from a parent
and a
kid. I definitely hope this blesses you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. We are really talking about it. We want to hear your feedback. And also let us know what else you guys want to talk about, what you want to hear from us. We can't wait. And we absolutely love you, Vibe Tribe. To the world. Bye.